What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What is going on, everyone? Let's see how the audio sounds. Give me 1 second. All right, audio sounds good. What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden here. What is going on? I hope everyone is doing extremely well today. I am most certainly doing well today. We got some great stuff to talk about in today's stream. In today's stream, we are going to be covering the New York Mets and the Chicago Cubs series summary. And we are here at the All-Star break, so there are no games to preview now, but we are going to be going over the Home Run Derby. That'll be tonight, and a little bit of the All-Star game, which will be tomorrow, and pretty much the usual, your guys' comments, questions, concerns, and all of the rest of that stuff later on. But before we dive into all of that, please, everyone, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, tell your friends about this channel, and much more. If you have any comments, questions, anything below, don't hesitate. Drop it below. Anything about the Mets, the Phillies, the Blue Jays, the Athletics, drop it below. Well, let's get a good baseball chat rolling in for the day. We got some great stuff to talk about, as always. Super exciting, as always. So let's stop wasting any more time. And let's dive into what's going on with the Mets and Cubs. Then we will get into all of your guys' questions and comments, as always. So the New York Mets went to Chicago to play a 4-game set against the Chicago Cubs. And, I mean, you can say things went pretty well because you took 3 of 4. It was definitely in a crazy fashion, but we'll talk about that. So let's get into Game 1. Game 1 was really not much of a challenge. The Mets offense seemed to explode. But let's talk about the awesome outing that Carlos Carrasco had. 6 innings, 5 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Phenomenal outing from Carlos Cookie Carrasco. I mean, his stuff was really just lights out. That fastball slider combination was lights out. A lot of ground balls from him that day. Overall, very successful outing. Not much of an analysis to give. He pretty much just got the job done and what was expected. The first inning complexities was not even a thing. We know that that's been a thing for him in the past. But I just think that was 2 rough series against Houston. So Carrasco looked good. And then the bullpen got a little bit of a rest. Trevor Williams came in for long relief. Williams, a guy who is capable of closing games, being a starter, an opener, definitely capable of going, 3-4 innings, and that's what he did. He went 3 innings, only surrendering 3 hits and 4 strikeouts, 45 pitches overall for him, with 35 of those were in the strike zone. So I'll say that was pretty darn good to only have 10 balls outside the zone. Did a phenomenal job, as always. Like I said, Williams is one of those guys who, on paper, may not look great, but in reality seems to just get the job done. So hopefully Williams could really have a big second half for this team, considering his bullpen role is going to be huge. So really liked what I saw out of the pitching for Game 1. Getting into the offense exploded. So obviously, the Mets scored 8 runs with 12 hits. Getting things started on the night, Francisco Lindor got some action in the first inning. Francisco Lindor had an RBI double to deep right center to bring in Starling Marte. Heading into the second inning, Patrick Mazeika had an RBI double to deep right field to bring in Dominic Smith and Eduardo Escobar. So good to see Mazeika, put the ball in play. We know that he hasn't done much offensively, so all the times he can contribute, that's good to see. Obviously, following a couple bats later, Starling Marte had an RBI single to center to bring in Patrick Mazeika. Heading on into the 5th inning, Eduardo Escobar had a 2-run RBI single to right to bring in Pete Alonso and Luis Guillorme. Going into the 6th inning, Brandon Nimmo had a solo home run to center. He ripped that ball 434 feet. And then to close things off, Pete Alonso had a 2-run homer in the 8th inning, 423 feet to bring in himself and Brandon Nimmo. So, of course, Alonso had to get in on some of the action. Obviously, great night offensively for this team. 8 runs, 12 hits. pretty much everyone got a hit but Luis Guillorme. Nimmo 3 for 4. Nimmo had a great night, scoring 2 runs, had a walk. Was a triple shy of the cycle. Marte 2 for 5. Lindor 1 for 4. Alonso 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. McNeil 1 for 4. Escobar 2 for 5. Everyone else pretty much 1 for 4. So really good to see the offense really blow up. Obviously, game 2 of this 4-game set was postponed due to rain and was made up as a both 9-inning doubleheader. So in that doubleheader, we had Taijuan Walker start things off, and Walker had another phenomenal outing. 6 innings, 4 hits, a run, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. 95 pitches overall. Big thing with Walker was the splitter slider. Looked phenomenal, and that split finger. Both of those pitches, he's really been mixing up pretty well against the hitters. So really been loving what you can honestly get out of Taijuan Walker. Like I said, 5 strikeouts, so he was getting some whiffs and some swinging and misses, but was really, I guess, turning a lot of double plays. That is one thing that Walker is capable of, is being a strikeout pitcher as well as a contact ground ball double play type of pitcher. So that's really what you like to see overall with Taijuan Walker. In terms of this bullpen was pretty quiet for the most part. Lugo going an inning, a hit, a walk, a strikeout, 24 pitches. He definitely got himself in a little bit of a jam, but was able to get out of it. Following that, Drew Smith came in. He looked pretty good, an inning, 2 strikeouts. Adam Ottavino came in for 2 innings in relief, 3 strikeouts. Ottavino looked good. The slider was on point. And then, of course, to close things out in a phenomenal outing was Edwin Diaz, who got the bottom of the 11th. Obviously, this did go into extra innings. To get the bottom of the 11th, Edwin Diaz, an inning and 2 strikeouts, 10 pitches. So Diaz was really electric. He was really looking good. Love what you saw out of Edwin Diaz that game. In terms of this Mets offense, it was pretty quiet. Mets had a good game the other night, but got pretty quiet offensively, getting things started. Pete Alonso in the 4th inning had an RBI double to deep right center to bring in Francisco Lindor. And then in the 11th inning, Pete Alonso hit a sacrifice fly to right field to bring in Luis Guillorme. Obviously, offensively, this team was pretty quiet for the most part that night. You would have hoped, coming off of a huge offensive night, they can continue it. Only 4 hits, so like I said, pretty quiet night. And I mean, that's going to be the thing. When I see, Travis Jankowski, Patrick Mazeika, and Dominic Smith and Eduardo Escobar in the bottom of your order, yeah, that's going to be an issue offensively. Those guys are absolutely providing no offense whatsoever. So yeah, that's going to be an issue. Wasn't crazy about Guillorme in the second hole. Obviously, he went 2 for 5, so clearly that did not help him out. The lineup was constructed very oddly. I get it. It was a doubleheader, so you kind of got to use some of your bench pieces, but Mets at the deadline may need to get another bench bat. That is something to explore that hasn't really been discussed about. So Mets won this game by a score of 2-1. Getting into game 3, the New York Mets also won game 3. You like to see that. Mets won by a score of 4-3. We had Max Scherzer on the bump for the New York Mets, and Scherzer with another phenomenal start. Definitely got very angry, definitely very triggered, as he always does. 6 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 11 strikeouts, 102 pitches. Honestly, phenomenal start from Mad Max Scherzer. I mean, this dude just goes out and is lights out. He had Nito behind the plate, and I don't really think he's ever pitched a whole lot to Nito. A couple times this year, but primarily to McCann that we've seen in spring training. So the two of them did work pretty well together, I will say. All right, audio sounding good. But yeah, otherwise, the two of them did work pretty well together. I was, very impressed with how they worked behind the plate. Following that, Colin Holderman came in, an inning and 2/3, a strikeout. Big piece to winning this game was Colin Holderman. To keep everything in lights out, and that's what it was. And then obviously Juan Lopez came in for 2 innings, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts, a big part to winning this game. He was pretty much in the predicament. Obviously, this game did go into extra innings as stated, but he was in the predicament where he had runners on the corners with 1 out, and pretty much it easily could have ended with a sacrifice fly, but was able to get things done. You really love to see that. From Juan Lopez. He's been a guy who's been completely underrated this year, Juan Lopez. Obviously, he had that big game back in Los Angeles back in June where he also had runners on the corners with no outs and was able to get out of it unscathed. So he's been a big part to this team's success. Very underrated guy. hopefully he can be here to stay. And if that's the case, he can keep up his eliteness coming out of the bullpen, because I mean, just the longevity this dude gives is really phenomenal. And I mean, he wasn't really a guy that was really known going into the season. I mean, obviously a lot of teams have gave up on him in the past. So yeah, hopefully, he really can try and just keep up the pace that he's going at. And then obviously let's get into this offense. I don't want to say it was quiet, but the runners in scoring position being stranded was surreal. That's going to be something we will be talking about. But yeah, stranding runners in scoring position has really been a big part of this team's worries this season. So getting into the offense, 4 hits, 7 runs. I mean, you got the job done, but the stranding with runners in scoring position was really a concern. Getting into it, in the 3rd inning, Francisco Lindor had an RBI ground out to 3rd to bring in Brandon Nimmo. In the 4th inning, Eduardo Escobar had a solo home run to left, 375 feet. Going into the 10th inning, to break the tie, Pete Alonso was hit by a pitch to bring in Brandon Nimmo. And then in the 10th inning, following that at bat, Francisco Lindor scored on a wild pitch, or not on a wild pitch, on a wild pickoff attempt at second base. So he was not able to pick Lindor off, and Lindor took advantage of that and was able to get home on that unfortunate throw by, I believe it was Robertson. So no, it wasn't Robertson. It was Norris or Givens. It was one of those two. So good to see Lindor with the heads-up base running there. That's what you like to see. Like I said, there's times where you're not going to win by connecting the bat to the ball. There's going to be times where you're going to win by simply enough having good base running and, making the errors that the opposing team commits really count. And I mean, hey, I hate to bash on the Cubs, but there's a reason they're in the spot now. And I mean, that pickoff attempt fail is a pretty big reason why. So yeah, super impressive there. Obviously, Mets won this game by a score of 4-3. So really good outing there. And getting into game 4 and the final game of this 4-game series, the New York Mets were not able to take the sweep and lost this game by a score of 3-2. Getting things started, you had David Peterson on the bump, and Peterson with a phenomenal outing. 5 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, 97 pitches. Peterson really had a big start. Loved what I saw out of David Peterson. Phenomenal start. That slider was really on point for the most part, really connecting with the zone well. We know that a big thing for Peterson has been the pitch count. And like we said, 97 pitches in 5 innings definitely shows why, he really needs to start, retiring batters in the lineup sooner rather than later. Big thing with Peterson is he really gets into full counts a lot, and we saw plenty. A lot of 3-2 counts, a lot of, 6, 7, 8 pitch at bats, fouling some pitches off. But at the end of the day, he gets the job done. And, if he walks a guy, which he definitely, has a high walk rate, if you could turn that double play, on the first pitch, stuff like that will really help out David Peterson. And it did this outing. Bullpen came in and did an okay job. Tommy Hunter, 2 innings, only giving up a hit. Definitely got out of a couple big jams. Good outing from Tommy Hunter. Obviously, Drew Smith came in, and Drew Smith was not able to get the job done, going 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, and 2 runs, obviously, giving up the lead and giving up the 2 runs that will make the Cubs win. Unfortunate outing from Drew Smith. I get it. 2 hits. Obviously, both of them were on the ground. Could have been fielded if, the position players were positioned there, but just unfortunate outing, for Drew Smith. I don't want to say he got unlucky, but unfortunately, it's a result-oriented game, and I'm not going to sit here and defend Drew Smith. So he really hasn't been looking good, and this is another reasoning why. Lugo came in to bail him out, faced 1 batter, 9 pitches. So pretty kind of long outing for Lugo for 1 batter, but he was able to get the job done. And obviously, in terms of this offense, was kind of quiet, like I said. You got 2 hits and 9 runs, but scoring with runners in scoring position was really not there. They stranded plenty of guys in scoring position, which was really rough. And getting things started in the first inning, Starling Marte stole home. Weird, interesting play to try and pick off Lindor at first. He went down the line to second, and they weren't able to tag Lindor, and Marte just easily stole home. So that was really good heads-up base running and unfortunate defense from the Cubs, and Mets were able to take advantage of that. So it's little stuff like that you want to try and do. Getting things started in the 5th inning, Pete Alonso had an RBI single to right to bring in Brandon Nimmo, and that's really all she wrote. The offense was pretty quiet this game. Like I said, I mean, really, this team was not walking much. That was one big thing this series is we didn't see a lot of walks. Only 3 walks issued this game, and for the other 2 games, same. So the walks was very quiet. Usually, you would hope to see Nimmo walk a little bit more. Canna was okay this series. Definitely could have got a little bit more out of him, but otherwise, I'd say okay series to say for the least. So, as we could see, the New York Mets were not able to get the sweep against the Chicago Cubs, but hey, they were able to get the series W. That's all I really care about at the end of the day. So, very impressive series. Definitely one of the most insane series to say for the least. I mean, my heart was really beating plenty of times this series. So definitely a crazy series to say for the least. So definitely glad they were able to get things done. There were a lot of games they didn't deserve to win, but just like I said, with the Cubs playing so poorly right now, the Mets were just able, to overachieve that, I guess. So obviously very impressive series from the New York Mets. They battled, they put up a fight, very close. You could have went for the sweep, the 4-game sweep, but hey, you got the 3-game wins, which is technically a sweep anyways. So very impressive there. You like to see that going into the All-Star break with, 23 games above 500. So, I mean, that's phenomenal. So now getting into the home run derby, I do want to talk about that tonight because that's my favorite thing. I love the long ball. I love home runs. And who better than the boy behind me and Big Meat Pete, Alonso? He will be going in the home run derby tonight for his 3rd straight W. Can he get that 3P? Obviously, winning in 2019, winning in 2021, since there was no home run derby in 2020. Alonso will try and go for the 3P. So I'm super excited. It's possible. It really is possible. Hopefully, he can try and get it. But let's get into my predictions for the home run derby tonight. I do know that MLB Network had some like $10,000 bracket thing. So, hey, we'll do it. I mean, I doubt I'm going to win anything, but why not do it just to show you guys my predictions as well as, hey, who knows? Maybe if I do it, I'll buy the Mets. No, I'm kidding. But let's get into it. Give me 1 second to pull up my screen. And there we go. We got the screen up. I'll place myself right down here for now. So as we can see, we will have Kyle Schwarber, Albert Pujols facing each other in the first bracket. In the second bracket, we will have Juan Soto against Jose Ramirez. In the third bracket, we will have Corey Seeger against Helio Rodriguez. And then in the fourth and final bracket, we will have our boy Pete Alonso facing Ronald Acuna Jr. So that is really going to be an interesting matchup. But let's get into it with our first bracket. We have Kyle Schwarber going up against Albert Pujols. Obviously, Albert Pujols, definitely kind of a surprise that he's in the Derby. You really wouldn't think he would be in it. Obviously, only 5 home runs on the season, so kind of a little intriguing that he's on here. I think it was just more the nostalgia, a big reason that he is even on this list, simply to say. But hey, he's on here, and he will be facing the NL home run leader in Kyle Schwarber, who has 29, a dude who had a kind of a slow start and has really been raking the ball recently. It's pretty obvious. I got to go Kyle Schwarber. I mean, nothing against Pujols, but I wonder how much of the power's there. But even regardless, Schwarber's just been insane lately. Going on to the second bracket, we will have Juan Soto against Jose Ramirez. Soto having a pretty good season, obviously, for home runs, obviously 20 on the season. And then how many does Jose Ramirez have? Let's see. Jose Ramirez is going into the home run derby with 19 home runs. So pretty much just one shy of each other. So that's interesting to see there. Going to be an interesting battle, to say for the least, but I'm going to go Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto is the guy to take. Getting into the third bracket, we have Corey Seeger against Helio Rodriguez. Helio Rodriguez having a great rookie campaign, definitely known for his speed. His power has definitely been there. 16 homers on the season, has a 477 slugging, so he definitely has some stuff going on there. And he will be facing against his division rival in Corey Seeger, who is also having a pretty interesting season. 22 homers, 480 slugging. So this is going to be an interesting battle, to say for the least. It's going to be tough. I mean, this is like the one pick that I'm kind of like, it really can go either way. but I'm going to have to go Helio Rodriguez. I think he's been having a pretty good season, and maybe with that bat speed, he can take advantage of it. And getting into the fourth and final bracket, we got Pete Alonso, our boy Big Meat Pete, going against Ronald Acuna Jr. Call me biased all you want. Honestly, don't even call me biased because Alonso has the better power numbers. Yeah, I got to go Alonso. I mean, Acuna definitely could put up a good fight, but, you know, with what we've been seeing out of Alonso, his power, it's going to be very hard to see Alonso be a first round exit. So now, getting into round two, as you can see, we have Kyle Schwarber against Juan Soto. Obviously, this is a great matchup as well. Very intriguing. Kyle Schwarber against Juan Soto. It's going to be tough. Obviously, the division rivals going at it. But I'm going to go Kyle Schwarber. Really got to go Kyle Schwarber. Getting into the second ballot in round two, we have Helio Rodriguez against Pete Alonso. Alonso, this dude has been on a mission lately. I got to go Alonso against J-Rod. And getting into the final two players, we got Kyle Schwarber going against Pete Alonso. I got to go Pete Alonso. I really do. I mean, this dude is just really, I mean, listen, nobody expected him last year to get out far. Everyone thought Ohtani was going to win or whoever. And no, he won. Even 2019, I don't even think he was, the favorite. So I think this dude is definitely capable of taking the three-peat. So I got to go Pete Alonso. He is my projected winner for tonight's home run derby. And he is the projected winner for everyone else. I mean, I think ESPN put out their projection and they had Pete Alonso winning. So I have our boy Big Meat Pete Alonso taking his third home run derby and third straight home run derby ring or chain or trophy, whatever they have tonight. So that's going to be super exciting to see that. Hopefully it comes true. We'll never know. Schwarber could always take it. Who knows? Maybe Albert Pujols will take it. I know he's projected last to win, but it's baseball. Anything could happen. So super exciting to see out of that. So now let's stop wasting any more time and let's dive into your guys' comments, questions, and concerns. Let's get it up in the chat. What's going on, everyone? Jed, what's going on? Gio, what's going on? Karen, Trey, baseball's my air. What's happening, dude? Ruben, what's going on? Peter, Ivan Dose, Robert, Z Sports Cards, Alex, Mets Talk with Lewis. What's going on, everyone? Cal says, howdy, Hayden. First half of the season is in the books. Can't wait for the Mets. Can't wait for more awesome Mets moments in the second half. You and me both, man. I mean, Mets had a very impressive first half. Definitely, hopefully, more good to come. Kobe says, hey, Hayden, how are you? I'm doing pretty well, man. He says, I'm glad the Mets were able to finish the last series before the second half on a good note. Yeah, I mean, taking 3 out of 4, from the Cubs is a great way to, finish off the first half. I just ran inside my house from getting some ice cream. Yeah, it is hot out, man, so definitely got to keep cool. Ruben says, DeGrom and Scherzer, best 1-2 punch. Can't wait for that. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be super exciting to see those two, I guess, just pitching back-to-back in the rotation is going to be insane. And, I mean, how much more it's going to help out this bullpen. I mean, just getting DeGrom back itself is really going to help out a lot. But obviously, you look at that 1-2 punch. I mean, that's an elite 1-2 punch. I mean, that can't go against. Jose, what's going on, man? Trey says, do you see the Mets calling up Matt Allen this year in 2022 or 2023? Well, Matt Allen hasn't pitched since 2019. Obviously, I believe he has not pitched in 2020 because of the COVID-shortened season. And then obviously didn't pitch last year because he had Tommy John, and same for this year. So he hasn't really been able to keep up his baseball activities lately. So probably 2023, and I don't even think that'll be the case because, I mean, that'll be going on to 4 years, without throwing a pitch. So, I mean, we're honestly going to have to see how things can go there. That'll be something we're going to have to examine. But, yeah, I mean, hopefully 2023, maybe 2024. Cal says, biggest strengths and weakness for the Mets so far. It's funny you bring that up, Cal. I actually, for the few times I do videos on this channel, I know for the most part, I've been doing a lot of live streams on the channel this season, but I actually do have a video planned. I finished recording it yesterday. I I don't have to edit it, but I got the thumbnail and everything's ready. And I'm going to be recapping the New York Mets first half, player analysis, what I liked, what I didn't like. So I'll let you watch that. So definitely keep an eye out on that. Mets Talk with Lewis says, LFGM, we are 23 games over 500 in the first half. Yeah, definitely comfortable position, 2.5 games ahead of the Braves and 8.5 from the Phillies. So definitely comfortable. Kobe says that this Mets versus Cubs series was probably the most stressful and crazy series that I've seen in a long time. At least the Mets put up a great fight and took 3 of 4. Yeah, I mean, that's all you ask for. Peter says, how can the Mets address their concern with 2 out hitting with runners in scoring position? Thing is, it's really like nothing you could do. It's not like you could just, snap your fingers and it'll go away, or it's not really anything you could say or do. I mean, it's really just a slump, and slumps are temporary. Obviously, they won't last forever. So there's really not much you could do. I mean, there's stuff as simple as moving guys up in the order or, changing the lineup a little bit. I mean, you could take that into example. But there's really nothing you can do exactly that will change, I guess, this team being successful with runners in scoring position and being clutch more. I mean, we saw it in the first half. So, I mean, whatever they were doing then, if they can go back to that, I mean, you got something rolling there. Trey says, how do you feel about the Mets record going into the All-Star break? I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. Connor, what's going on? Connor says, happy that DeGrom is making rehab starts. Looks like a high schooler pitching against elementary kids. He does. Sports Fan says, what you need, to be perfectly honest, is a 500 OPS. Is more than a 500 OPS from catchers that are here. More production from Eduardo Escobar and more consistency from Mark Cannon and so on. Yeah, Cannon, the consistency is definitely something. Obviously, like I said, your catcher's position, I get it. You're not going to get a whole lot of offense, but you're going to need to see a little bit more considering, our DH isn't really hitting at all. So you pretty much got back-to-back positions for the most part, just really providing no offense. So, and even like I get it. Like I said, we have the DH. I'm not crazy about catcher's offense, but still, you can't just have the catcher's position just be a dead duck. I mean, you're going to need to see a little bit more from your catcher's position because, simply enough, like McCann, I mean, he hasn't been grounding out a whole lot this year, even though he hasn't even been on, the field much this year. But, you can't have McCann come into a situation where it's runners on the corners with 1 out and he just grounds out into a double play. I mean, little stuff like that you cannot have. So hopefully they can try and figure that out. And I agree with you. Hopefully Escobar can try and, heat up in the second half. I definitely think Escobar is capable of being a second half player. He had a really unfortunate first half, no secret. So hopefully he can try and really try and have a good second half. Yeah, that was funny, Connor. I do have Discord, actually. If I can pull up my username, you guys can send me a friend request. We could chat on there, talk baseball, talk whatever, really. I don't know if you guys are interested I don't know if you guys are interested in any other sports. So if any of you guys are interested in speaking with me, definitely Twitter is the way to go, @MetsHayden. But if you guys do want to shoot me a message on Discord, I don't use it a whole lot, but definitely I say knock yourself out if you want to be friends with me on there. My username is pretty much Mets Talk with Hayden, and the number is 2173. Repeat, Mets Talk with Hayden, 2173. Mets Talk with Hayden J, 2173. And if you guys need it, you could always DM me on Twitter and I'll send you the link. Trey says we need a strong DeGrom back, DH, and some bullpen help. A lot to ask midseason. Yeah, Trey, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, obviously, getting DeGrom back, I mean, he's not going to come back his first outing and, go 6-7 innings, one hitter. No, I mean, with DeGrom, they're really just going to have to build up with him. I mean, he's going to take it slow. And I know Mets fans are not going to want to see that, but he's going to have to take it slow for his sake. With the DH, you're going to have to address at the deadline. I agree. The DH is a big thing to ask for. I get it. You obviously, the Mets with their DH, we've been speaking about it. You can go for an in-house way. You can go for an out-house way. Mets are going to definitely, go after that DH role. Whether it's calling up a guy or trading for someone, the days of Dom Smith and JD Davis are counting down, unfortunately. So unless, hey, they can come back for the next 2 weeks and put up a phenomenal, DH production, but I don't see that happening, unfortunately. And then the bullpen's something you always go after, so I'm not crazy worried about the bullpen. And plus, once you get DeGrom back, that's really going to help out your bullpen. I think your bullpen is very fatigued, I will say. Like, we've been working our bullpen a lot, so I think that having DeGrom back will definitely help out the bullpen. The Nate Show, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Long time no speak. Hopefully you are doing well, brother. Kobe says, what's your biggest takeaway from the Mets first half? Biggest takeaways, probably the elite pitching. I don't want to spoil too much because I do have that first half recap coming out. So I guess to kind of keep it simple, I'd probably say the pitching has been pretty good. Health. Cal with a buy or sell. David Peterson should be the number 5 starter in the rotation for the rest of the season. That's intriguing. Okay. So obviously when DeGrom comes back, it'd be DeGrom, Scherzer, Carrasco, Bassett, and then you have Walker allegedly in that 5. Unless you put Peterson in that 5, then I don't know, maybe you get like a long reliever out of Walker, but then contract year, I don't know if he'll like that. Thing with Peterson is, like I said, I've always expressed an interest in having a lefty in the rotation. I do value that. Considering that there's always lineups out there that really do struggle against left-handed pitching. But then you could also make the argument for the bullpen. Considering that you don't have much left-handed pitching in the bullpen. You have Dolly Rodriguez, but that's really it. Keep in mind, you are getting Joey Lucchesi back probably in August. And obviously he could be a long reliever, capable of being a starter. He can give you 3, 4, 5 innings. So Lucchesi also is another lefty in the bullpen. So I don't know. That's a little interesting point to bring up there. But as of right now, I would like Peterson in the rotation. He's definitely proved himself, I feel. He's obviously increased his value as a player. The slider's been much better. He's been much better in a lot of tight situations with runners on. That's his bread and butter. And he's really been better with runners on. And, I mean, if you look at that compared to, last year in 2020, it's really been helping him out. So as of right now, I would love to say bye, but I just don't see the Mets putting a guy like Walker or Bassett in the bullpen or something like that. So as of right now, I'm going to have to go sell. But I mean, trust me, I would love to buy it, but I just think it's going to be very, very rare right now. Peter says, what would you rate Buck Showalter so far? Can't believe no team was interested in him as a manager. Yeah, man. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that already this season. I mean, the fact is, and listen, I'll admit too, I mean, during this offseason, when the Mets were looking for a manager, I would constantly come on these streams and say, oh, I don't know about Showalter. I get it. He's a veteran. The last 2, managers in Rojas and Callaway, both of them being rookies, haven't worked. So obviously, the Mets kind of wanted to go for a veteran approach. But with Showalter, a lot of people were wary of him on, anti-analytics, which was just a myth. The Orioles had a horrible analytics system, so that really killed him there and went back to Buck. And I mean, the talent you could maybe argue with wasn't as big towards, the end of his career in Baltimore. I get it. He had the unfortunate bullpen decision, in the wild card game against Toronto in, 16. But with Zach Britton. But, I mean, that's the past. All managers. I mean, I can tell you the best managers in the league have made bullpen mistakes. Blake Snell. And, getting taken out of the World Series in 2020 by Kevin Cash. Simple stuff like that. I mean, Joe Girardi not challenging in the 2017 ALCS. I mean, just little stuff like that. The best managers in the game still find a way to make mistakes. So, I mean, I really love Buck Showalter. He's done a phenomenal job. LFGM. Baseball's Mayor says, what's the deal with Michael Conforto right now? That's a good question with your Mr. Michael Conforto icon. As of right now, I don't really know what the deal is with him. I said that Scott Boras said that he would probably be with him at the draft. And we're here, and he hasn't really been talking or heard anything about him. We know that he said that he was hurt during his private spring training. He got hurt, and he had to get surgery and, try and recuperate. But now I think his value is much low. So you think with Conforto, he'd accept that qualifying offer because, his value's low. He hasn't played in, almost a year. So, our team's going to be willing to give him that contract that he wants. I mean, I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, hopefully we'll start to hear something out of him. Trey says 3-peat. Yeah, man, I hope 3-peat is what we see tonight. Mets Talk with Lewis says, can we collab for a stream? Yeah, man, absolutely, definitely. I don't know if you have a channel, but definitely, or also on here, but definitely, yeah, hook me up, man. Matt, you can message me on Twitter or Discord, and we could definitely plan something out. I was also kind of to mention it. I was also debating, and I don't know what you guys would think about this, but let me know in the chat section below. Possibly having maybe like some, 2-3 minute call-ins. I know a lot of other, content creators like to do that. And I don't know. Maybe I was debating on doing that. Maybe, these streams are usually an hour, so maybe like 20 minutes. I paste the link in the chat, and if you guys want to, come on in for a couple minutes, if you have any questions or statements or respond to anything in the chat, maybe I'd consider that. So let me know if you guys would like that. Just a little random idea I thought of. Damn it, I lost where I was. What's your thoughts on all this Juan Soto news? Yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, I just think it's a little too premature to get into all of this stuff. I think it's a little premature. I mean, we'll see with Soto. I mean, keep in mind, you're going to have to give up a lot of your farm, which is kind of the big issue. Yeah, I mean, giving up your farm is really going to be the big question. I mean, you're going to have to give up at least 3 of your top 5. If you can keep Alvarez, that'd be great. But then you're going to give up on Mauricio and a Vientos. I'm okay giving up Mauricio, like I've said in the past. When it comes to Soto, it's going to be what you're giving up. It's going to be a lot of the farm. And your farm is going to drop big time. I get it. Bringing Soto in would be great. I mean, I don't really need to explain why. He's an MVP, Hall of Famer caliber player as of right now at his age. The contract, not worried. I mean, you have Cohen, you have Epler. I have faith in those guys to, pay him the right price if he does come here. But as of right now, I'm not going to sit here and say, look at this lineup. It's an idea. I mean, people have been saying the same thing with Judge, with everyone. The Mets aren't going to get every single superstar. Now that you have a better owner and a better GM that's more involved and is willing, yeah, you'll hear, you're going to hear the name more, but we'll see. It's a possibility. I know that Mike Rizzo, the Nationals GM, has really done a horrible job the last couple of years, and they're pretty much just selling the team at this rate, the Nationals. Yeah, I mean, they got rid of Turner, they got rid of Scherzer, they got rid of Rendon. I mean, you have Strasburg still. And that contract has not been working out for them. He's really been hurt a lot. So right now they're kind of in their rebuilding phase, going for that young core. They're building up their farm. So, I mean, I think Soto would really be, I guess, that last piece to kind of depart, unfortunately for them. So, yeah, I mean, overall, it's unfortunate how that happens to teams. 3-peat, says Alexander, hopefully. Connor says, who do you think hits the farthest home run tonight and how many feet? Farthest home run, I couldn't even tell you. Maybe I'll go Schwarber will hit the farthest. I don't know, maybe 530 feet. Yeah. I don't know if you heard me reply to your other comment, Lewis, but I do have Twitter. I do have Discord. I believe you follow me on Twitter, so if you want to hook me up on Twitter, shoot me a DM or something, and I can give you the link. Or obviously, like I said, my username is Mets Talk with Hayden J, and I think it's like 2175, I believe, is the number. So definitely hook me up, and we could definitely talk about something like that. Trey says, did the New York Mets win the Edwin Diaz trade? As of right now, it's looking like it. I mean, we won't know till pretty much 5-10 years from now and see how the future for the Mariners goes. But, I mean, yeah, as of right now, they're looking like they're winning it. But, yeah. We'll just honestly have to wait and see. That's how a lot of these trades are. I mean, you can't really make a decision if you won. So you got to see. Ruben says, I'm happy with the Mets draft this year. Much better than years past. Yeah, I mean, the Mets draft, I haven't paid so much attention to it. I know I've been trying to pay a little bit more attention to the farm lately. That was weird. Sorry, I got a text message. Yeah, but I mean, as of right now, taking a look-see at who the Mets drafted, obviously drafting that catcher obviously was very interesting, considering that you do have Francisco Alvarez in your farm. Keep in mind, you can draft other position players. I mean, we've seen the Mets do that. For example, Dom Smith and Pete Alonso. I mean, little stuff like that. Considering that Kevin Parada is a hard-hitting catcher, he has great exit velocity and hits the ball really hard, which you don't see out of a catcher very often. I mean, he could also switch to a DH role. So I think signing Parada was pretty interesting. Obviously, Jet Williams, a shortstop. I get it. He plays shortstop, but, luckily being young, you could always move him over to second or third or always be a backup shortstop, whatever. And then obviously the last pick in the second to last pick in last night's draft, you got Blade Tidwell, who has a very nice fastball, really to say for the least. The fastball is pretty nasty. And you got him at a steal, to say for the least. You thought he would have been much higher, but the Mets got him at the 52nd pick with Mr. Billy Epler magic. And then obviously the final pick in last night's draft, you went with Nick Morabito, who is from Gonzaga. Very interesting school. Obviously, he is an outfielder, so obviously you have a lot of talent there. So obviously, like I said, outfield and pitching is kind of really what you wanted to go after, as you did, and what is good. Considering that your number one pitching prospect, or your best pitching prospect, I should say, is Matt Allen, and he hasn't been pitching in quite a while. And then, I mean, there's kind of a long gap going down. Next up would be Calvin Ziegler, who is 19 years old. And he obviously is in single A ball, so we're not going to see him for a while. So you really got to start to build up that pitching depth in the farm. Same for the outfield depth, considering that you got rid of PCA last year. You got a couple outfield names. I get it, Ramirez, Cortez, but you still want to, build up the outfield. Infield depth, you're fine. I've expressed. I mean, you have the talent for the infield depth in the farm. I mean, going everyone from I mean, the Mets really do have good talent in terms of infield at the farm system. I have expressed, obviously you have Francisco Alvarez, you have Brett Beatty, you have Mark Vientos, who could be a third baseman. Jalen Palmer. So yeah, I mean, they're pretty stacked for the infield depth, but pitching and outfield is what you need to go for. What's made Edwin Diaz so successful this year compared to others, says Ivan Dos? Well, as of right now, I'd really say the slider. I mean, he has three types of sliders. As stated, he has that, high and in slider. He has the Gulf side slider, and then he has the back foot door slider, which has really been a big part to his success. So mixing up his sliders have been big. So hitters pretty much uneasy going into the at bat and just cannot determine what type of slider it's going to be. So that's been a big part to him so far this season. Yeah, I mean, his fastball is looking good. Consistency has been the biggest thing for Edwin Diaz. So, yeah, hopefully sorry, guys. So hopefully he can try and get the job done for the rest of the season. But he's been consistent, and that's been the biggest thing. Sports fan says, what's your thoughts on the catching situation? Because I still don't trust Nito or Mazika now. I'd rather have Contreras if McCann is out for a month or two. Well, unfortunately, I think the odds of going after Contreras is pretty rare. You're really just going to have to tuck it out with Nito and Mazika. I mean, I hate to say it, but you're just going to have to toughen it out. I will say Nito's not doing a horrible job, but he's also not doing a great job. But as of right now, you're just going to have to toughen it out. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's how you got to go. Elliot says, hello, let's effing go Blue Jays. Like yeah, that is. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Roy Halladay. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Blue Jays are looking interesting this season. Trey says, hey, man, the Mets need to address this offense soon. I hope they would have called up Vientos knowing McCann will be out for a while. Need to go after Contreras no matter what the cost is. Yeah, I mean, going after Contreras as an option, I'd be a little weary considering that you don't want to give up for a rental and that you have Alvarez. It'd be kind of odd to go after a rental, and we saw it last year, and I don't want them to make that mistake this year. So, I mean, you have the possibility there, sure. Yeah, I get it. McCann wasn't providing any offense, so getting a guy like Contreras or even an in-house guy like Alvarez definitely helps out offensively at the catcher's position, which you need. Vientos also, a lot of people are saying Vientos. I love Vientos, but I'm a little worried with the strikeout ratio. I mean, I think right now, is it really worth a shot? I mean, the other two guys, Dom Smith and JD, aren't doing anything, so, I mean, it's not like it's going to hurt. Mark Vientos, I mean, the strikeout ratio is a little rough, and then you have to translate that to the major league level, and that would probably increase the strikeout ratio. So, I mean, as of right now, I mean, we'll honestly just have to see how he can pan out in AAA. Keep in mind, he just got called up to AAA, so I'd like him to play a little bit in there to kind of, figure himself out. But obviously, Vientos call up is pretty reasonable. Sports fan says, now that the wild card is a 3-game home series, I'm really not stressing over the division as much as everyone else seems to be. While I'd obviously love to win the division. Yeah, I mean, man, let's be real. Who wouldn't want the Mets to win the division? I think that obviously would be much more favorable than getting a wild card spot, and definitely help the Mets out in the playoffs. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if you can get a wild card spot, great. I think, considering how the NL East for the last 10 years has pretty much just been the Braves and Nationals, and I think the Nationals odds at that are pretty rare now. So now it's really just the Braves division. You really would hope the Mets can try and, get an NL East title for the first time since 2015. And before that, it's been a hot minute. So yeah, hopefully they can try and get a NL East title this year. Worst case, you'll accept wild card. Mets Talk with Lewis says, if the Mets traded for Soto, I would say give up Beatty, Peterson in the first 2 round picks, and they give Soto and Corbin. Yeah, I mean, taking on Corbin's contract would probably be a little annoying. It would be like $20 million you'd have to start, I think, to give Corbin, which isn't ideal. But hey, I mean, Soto's obviously the big, chunk of that trade. Yeah, I mean, you'd obviously have to give up Beatty. I think you may need to give up one more extra guy, and I probably would be a Mauricio. I was thinking, I mean, yeah, you probably get rid of your first 2 round picks. I agree with you on that, Lewis. You probably have to get rid of your first 2 round picks. You probably have to get rid of a Peterson or McGill, unfortunately. Hopefully it doesn't come to that if that's the case. I don't know if they'll give up Beatty. I feel like Alvarez and Beatty are like the 2 guys. I mean, Alvarez, it'd be so hard. But I feel like Beatty, they wouldn't. I feel like they would probably, if you want my hypothetical, I think it could probably be like Mauricio, Vientos, like you said, a bullpen arm, kind of like a Peterson or Williams, and then your first 2 round picks. And then in return, you get a Soto and Corbin, I feel. I mean, someone else will say Keibert Ruiz, but I mean, then you definitely probably have another catching prospect gone. Who knows? Maybe they'll get rid of Hayden Senger. I mean, you never know. But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting take there. Ruben says, scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate the Mets first half? I give it a solid 8. Jose says, Hayden, what do you think about this deal? Canna, Davis, Smith, Mauricio, Vientos for Soto and Bell. Ooh. Okay, so you're getting rid of Canna. You're getting rid of Davis and Smith. The issue is Davis and Smith's value isn't as high as what it used to be. I mean, if Smith's value was, 2020 value, yeah, you'd be fine. But, I mean, it's hard to make a case for Smith and Davis. Obviously, it's the Nationals, so, I mean, how much are they really going to care? Yeah, Mauricio Vientos makes sense. Bell also, I mean, Bell's value is very high, having a great, phenomenal season. You really like to see that out of Josh Bell. Yeah, that's not bad. I honestly kind of like that, to be honest with you, Jose. I mean, it's a lot to take in. So you have Canna. Okay, that's reasonable. I'd like to keep him, but I don't think they'd get rid of Canna. I really don't. I mean, you have that 2-year contract. I don't see the Mets getting rid of Canna. I get it. You have Soto as an outfielder, but there's also a DH, and Davis and Smith makes sense. Mauricio makes sense. Vientos can make sense. Yeah, that's not bad. I like that trade. Maybe get rid of Canna and replace it with someone else, but yeah. It's a good trade, Jose. Sports fan says, who wins the NL East, Braves or Mets? It's tough. I mean, Braves are right now looking like the better team. I mean, it's rough. It really is. As of right now, I'll say the Mets because they're 2.5 games above, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll say Mets. Call me biased. Cal says, I was watching some Blade Tidwell highlights. Simply put, guy's a beast. The ball comes out of his hand insanely quick. Happy with Epler in this year's draft. Yeah, I mean, the draft's got much better this year than last year. Yeah, I was watching a couple clips from him on Twitter, and his fastball is insane. Thoughts on the Mets draft from last night? Yeah, like I said, much better from last year. Obviously, the Mets have obviously done a much better job. The last couple, than last year. The Mets drafts have recently gotten a lot better. And I think Epler, had a phenomenal, a couple steals. Like I said, Blade Tidwell is obviously a big steal. So yeah, hopefully he can continue to have another great draft tonight and for years to come. So we are probably going to call it a stream here. I really do appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Definitely shoot me. I'm trying to message you on Twitter, but it's not letting me. Let's see. Perhaps Twitter is down. Well, you should be following me. What's your name? Mets Talk with Lewis. Give me 1 second. I want to figure out. Yeah, you do follow me. Oh, okay. There, I followed you, so that's probably why. So try messaging me now, and hopefully that will work. So I followed you back, Lewis. So try messaging me, and hopefully that will work. But as I was saying, I really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're probably going to call it a stream here now. Really do appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's stream. As always, we had a great chat rolling out, a lot of great questions in today's stream. We went over the New York Mets and the Chicago Cubs series summary. We went over the home run derby predictions, some guys that will be in it, my predictions for it. We went over your guys' comments, questions, and concerns, going over the MLB draft, news with Juan Soto, going into the second half, and of course, much, much more. So I really do appreciate you guys for tuning into these streams. As always, it's been phenomenal with the nonstop support. Really do appreciate it. And like I said, do keep an eye out for, my English is not the best today. Do keep an eye out for the video, which I will be uploading. What's today? Today, my phone's right here. Today is Monday. Games start back on Thursday, Friday for the Mets. So probably keep an eye out on Wednesday or Thursday for a video where I will be recapping the Mets second half. It is my longest video yet. I think it's like 25 minutes, which is insane because usually the few videos I upload are like 5 minutes. So definitely keep an eye out on that. As always, keep your post notifications on so you don't miss any videos or any future streams. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, always drop them below. If you're rewatching this on replay, kudos to you, LFGM. Drop any comments, questions, concerns in the chat or in the comment section below. Follow me on Twitter at Mets Hayden. If you have any friends about this channel, or if you have any friends that like baseball, tell them about this channel. My words are all over the place today. I know I speak very fast at times, so that's probably why. I really appreciate everyone for tuning into the chat. Jose, Eric, Baseball is My Air, Kobe, Cal, Connor, Mets Talk with Lewis, Sports Fan, Ruben, Elliot, Alex, Connor, Ibindos, Nate, Peter, Alex, Karen, Robert, Z Sports Cards, Gio, and Jed, everyone else. Sorry if I missed your name. Really do appreciate you guys for tuning in to the comment section and in the stream as always. So probably going to call it a stream here. Like I said, do all of those great things. Home run derby tonight. Hopefully we can get a three-peat. That is my goal. Otherwise, I really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. LFGM, let's go Mets. Till next time, baseball fans. See ya.